This video will show you how to replace the stretch fit water pump belt on a Mazda 3. This will be located along the passenger side of your engine. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Make sure your engine's cool to the touch because we're going to be making our way down along the passenger side. We don't want it hot. Looking along this area, we can see where our serpentine belt is. We're going to have to deal with the serpentine belt tensioner first. Now for this type of tensioner, you're going to be using a 17 millimeter. We're going to be pivoting it counterclockwise, and that's going to draw the pulley upward, releasing tension from the belt on the alternator. This is where we'll slide the belt right off of there. Now there's going to be minimal space for a 17 millimeter, but typically you can do this with a ratchet. Slow and steady on this tensioner. We can see it compress. Let's take hold of that belt and we'll pull it out of place. Now that we have the belt off of there, we can release tension from our tensioner, remove our tool. Now we can fully remove that belt. Now, once you have the belt off of there, you need to give it a quick inspection. If it looks like this one does here, you definitely want to replace it. Now that we have the belt off of there, let's pause in the engine compartment. We're going to safely raise and support the passenger side front so we can remove the front wheel. Now, after you've completed that, we're going to remove all 5 of our 21 millimeter lug nuts and that wheel. With the wheel out of the way, let's have a look inboard. Just past our brakes, this is where we can see a plastic shield. We're going to be dislodging this. Now this is held in place with 3 push clips. Before we can remove one of them, we actually have to dislodge this push clip from our inside fender liner. So let's start here. To remove your push clips, start removing the center to unlock it, and you can remove the outer portion as well. For this, I'm using a trim tool. You could use a flat blade screwdriver if necessary. With that out of position, our next push clip is going to be located just behind here, so I'm going to flex this. We can see our push clip. Let's get this one out of here. Now we're making our way this way. Just behind the ABS wire we have one, and then all the way down at the bottom area we have one more. We'll make sure we're holding onto the shield. We should be able to slide this out of place. Now right in this area, we can see our stretch fit water pump belt. You want to make sure that you compare it to your brand new one before we remove it. The reason for that is because we're going to be cutting this. As far as cutting it, I'm going to be using some cutters. You could also use a blade if necessary. You just want to be extremely careful. This is under a little bit of tension, but you also don't want to cause any damage to anything else. We've got our safety glasses on at all times. Let's remove that belt. Just go ahead and slide it right out of there. And there it is, friend. Prior to installation of any brand new part, of course, we're going to make sure we clean and inspect all mounting areas. As far as our pulleys are concerned, you really just want to pay attention to the grooves. Confirm there's no miscellaneous debris or rust buildup in any of these areas, in which case it would need to be taken care of. Prior to installation of any brand new part, we're going to make sure we clean and inspect the mounting surfaces. We're confirming that the grooves on each one of our pulleys are in good condition. We can see right along here and down on our crank pulley. Now it's time for installation of our brand new stretch fit belt. Now, as far as this belt is concerned, we're going to take it and bring it over our crank pulley. Onto the inner grooves here, this is where the belt needs to ride. We're also going to be paying attention up at our water pump pulley. Now, if you were looking along the outboard side of the pulley, you can see that there's several bolts holding the pulley to that water pump. In between each one of those bolts, you're going to find a circular port. We're going to need to have a wire tie. We're going to use this to hold our belt in position on the water pump pulley while we turn our crank pulley, installing this belt. Let's get this on down along the bottom. Let's get this in position here. Now, obviously, this belt is not going to fully fit over that water pump pulley. This is where we're using the wire tie. I already have this pre-curved, so it should make its way through there and then back around to me fairly simply. There we are. Now, as we start turning the crank using our 21 millimeter, we're attempting to walk this belt completely onto our water pump pulley. We need to make sure that the belt is fully on the crank pulley at all times. Just going to confirm that real quick. We're turning our crank bolt with a 21 millimeter clockwise. Slow and steady wins the race here. If you find you have a hard time cutting this wire tie with cutters, you can also use a screwdriver and twist the wire tie until it breaks. Make sure you fully remove that wire tie. You never want to leave this anywhere near your belt system. A thorough confirmation that the belt is properly seated all the way around each one of your two pulleys. This is extremely important. Assuming it is, go ahead and remove your tool and we'll reinstall our shield. We have our shield. Let's start getting this in place. We want to make sure that we have the forward upper portion of the shield tucked in and behind our fender liner, so let's start there. Once you have the outer portion of each push clip installed, you should be able to lock it in by driving in the center. Let's just double check to make sure each one of these panels is properly secured and we can reinstall our passenger side front wheel. Now it's time to install our front wheel. We'll take this and slide it into position. Once you have it on there, start on all 5 of your 21 millimeter lug nuts. We'll bottom them out, get the wheel safely on the ground, and then torque them to 100 foot-pounds. Now that we have the wheel safely on the ground, we'll torque each of our lug nuts in a crisscross manner to that 100 foot-pounds. Torqued. Now it's time to install our belt. As we start bringing this belt down into position, we're going for our crank pulley first. That's the lowest pulley towards the center of the engine. Now that I have it around that pulley, we're going to take the bottom area of this belt and I'm going to slide it over my AC compressor, which is all the way on the bottom on the front of the engine. Once I have it around there, the belt is going to go straight up around my alternator pulley, and then we need to have it down towards that tensioner pulley next. Continuing on, we're using our 17mm on our tensioner. We're going to be twisting this counterclockwise, bringing the tensioner pulley up so we can slide the belt under, and then we can remove our tool. Now, once you feel as though you have the belt in the proper position, you need to take a thorough inspection. Clearly, my belt is not seated properly, and that's just on a smooth pulley. You also want to pay attention to each one of your ribbed pulleys. Any one of the ribs on the belt itself needs to fit into the corresponding groove on the pulley. If it's not seated properly, you're going to cause damage to the belt and potentially other damage as well. Take your time, make sure it's properly seated. Okay, we're just inspecting all the way around the alternator, all the way around the AC compressor, all the way around the crank. Okay. That looks good. Okay, friend, we finished the installation. Now the next thing we have to do is start up the vehicle. You're going to let it run for approximately 5 seconds and turn it right back off. Make your way back out here and triple check the belt. You need to confirm it's seated properly on each and every one of the pulleys. Aside from that, go ahead and close the hood and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.